So, at our last segment, we talked about the symptoms that go along with lack of spiritual development. So, let's talk about the lack of achievement. I think that's very important. You see your levels of achievement step by step. And without that nurturing, um, there'll be a lot lost. So our young people right now are in a situation where their achievements are very well highly taken, and they can be highly accented even more with a little more spiritual development. So let's talk about some of the cures that can help us in that department. People ask, well, Mr. Lucky, what can I do to help and bring about my spiritual development? Well, one of them is one long, beautiful walk on a very nice, beautiful day, um, and have that peace in that mind visual come through. It's one thing to look at a book and see peace in a book, or look at a beautiful person or a beautiful item and see there's peace in those items. But when we can look inside ourselves and can't find that peace, there's a problem. So what do? We take a long walk in the park, just a straight long walk in the park. We want to be around everything that's alive, because in life we have communication, and there's communication out there, whether you know it or not. There's definitely a stimulation going on that can help you with your development spiritually. We also want to talk about daily anointments. I think daily anointments is something that people have gotten away from. It may be one of grandma's old methods, remedies, but now generation, they tend to not believe in anointments. But anointments are very important. We put on the Obama cologne because we want to smell a certain way. Well, that's basically an anointment, because you can anoint yourself to smell a certain way, and you can anoint yourself to be a certain way and to receive certain things. So that's very important. I think what's even more important with developing ourselves spiritually is to have the ability to anoint our emotions. Once we become anointed, it's a method where our pastors will anoint our heads with oil. But it's up to you as an individual to anoint your emotions. The pastor can't anoint your emotions. That comes from development of spirituality. And without the ability to anoint your emotions, you'll go out there and it won't take much of a situation to bring you to a flashpoint. So those are the things that we're trying to avoid. Those are the things that aren't developing us and not helping us cope with our social skills. Another cure for lack of depression, lack of spiritual development, is choosing the way we dress and the type of clothes we wear. Um, it's not a sin to dress in any fashion, in my opinion. But when you anoint yourself with jewelry, it's a help. It could be a gold chain, it could be a bracelet, it could be a watch. But these things are special because they're an anointment for your mind. It reminds me of a woman running out the door to get in your car and forgetting her earrings. Now that's something that she's not going to do, because she's going to stop everything, make you stop the car, turn around and go back so she can get them. So that's definitely what it is that I'm talking about, is to choose the things that you wear to develop your spirituality. It's very important. Also, sitting in the sun. You'd be surprised how we develop ourselves spiritually by just sitting in the sun and just allowing the sun to bathe us and coat us with this goodness and kindness. Another cure for for developing spirituality is mirror gazing. You have an opportunity to set a mirror in front of you. Well, look at it, because what you're looking at is what you want to develop. Things that we can look and see are things that we can work on, we can develop, we can look through, we can look in. There's certain things that we do every day that gives us a sign of what we need to do, but if we can't see it, then we don't know it's there, and we don't know that there's a problem with it. So mirror gazing is a very, very unique way of doing it. Also, chanting up your desires. You have the ability to speak, and not just you, all creatures do. But when you hear a bird that whistles, what is it whistling for? It's asking for something. It is asking for something to be given to it. And in our chance, we develop our desires, and we push those desires from our mouth. And that's a good way of developing your spirituality, for developing the things that you say. Another one is fire gazing. You want to get you a candle one day and sit down in front of it and stare at the flame and talk to the flame and develop the flame. Um, and at the same time, the flame will be developing you. That's a form of developing your spirituality. So these are a few of the cures. Another one is plants. You know, anoint yourself with as many plants as you can in your house, and actually talk to the plants, because it's already been diagnosed that when you talk to a plant, it understands you, it hears you. So if that plant can hear you, then every plant in the world can hear you. So every plant in the world is your friend if you talk to it. That even continues to be a blade of grass. A lot of people like to sit outside and sit in the grass, but they don't thank the grass for supporting them, or thank the grass for giving the fragrance that it gives to them. These things are spiritual, and in a small way, to get away from your routine and do something different is a way of growth and a way of spiritual development. There's no looking back once you started. The development goes on and on. So now that we've talked about that, let's talk about the operation of following the signs. Following the signs meets 2 days a month. Actually, this month it meets on the 11th and on the 25th, and at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So those are just 2 days a week that we meet. And actually, what we do there, we take spirituality and connect it to excellence. It's where spirituality meets excellence, and it's a development, and not just of you, but the people who see you and the people that are around you. It's all development. A lot of times there are facts run into faith, and people tend to see what they're talking about. It's not as crazy as they think it is, and the feelings that they have is it can be developed into something real nice. Every time we have a class, there's always a rebirth. There's always another source that a person can grab hold to, that can let that old one go and embrace the new one. So let's talk about some of the long range plans that come along with the cure. Long trips with the family or friends, just to get out of the city for a while, just to put space between you and all the things that's going on around you. It's very, very important. We like to talk to ourselves, and it's important at the right time to do that. I can give you some pointers that I use. Usually, when I communicate, it's usually in the twilight before I wake up. There seems to be a moment there when comfort is doesn't want to be disturbed, and at that time, you start speaking to yourself, and you start asking yourself why. And once you do that, you start the path of spiritual development, because the only person in that room is you. So there's the course that you have to follow there. So what happens after all of these cures happen? What happens next? Well, now there's a benefit that comes along with that. So what are the benefits from developing your spirituality? Well, one of them is a comfortable night's sleep. Even if it's in your car, it could be outside. You'd be surprised. You see the bums outside sleeping on the concrete, but they sleep so peacefully, because there's nothing that's not connecting them to the spirit, to things that's around them, to nature, to the universe. They're right there with it. And you may look at them, and I may look at them and feel sorry for them, but there's nothing to feel sorry about. They have reached a peak, and that peak that they've reached allowed them to continue to live in that style of life that they're living in. So the benefits was easy. One of the benefits would be you get a peaceful sleep. Another is the ability to tolerate and understand other people. And that's what's really important in our community. Our spirituality has to be developed. Everything else is moving, and we have to move it too. And we can move it along as fast as we can, but that development has to happen, because When we get to a hot point when we are dealing with other people, that's a lack of our own spirit. Love is the start of development and the unconditional love of self. You blame yourself for what you've done, then you can blame yourself for what other people have done. But it's time to stop the blame game. And it's just time to grab hold to the reality that tomorrow's going to come and we have to be patient and wait for it. We can't rush it. Our spirituality depends on so much. Our spiritual confidence from feeling accepted. We gain that once we gain spirituality. The confidence of being accepted from other people and not looked upon as a different type of person where people don't want to talk to you. These are some of the benefits that happen with that. You also gain the benefit of meditation. I talked about I do it in the morning. There's a benefit that goes along with that. Actually, you even become happier because of your spiritual development and the conditions that you're living in. When you develop your spirituality, those conditions become easier to deal with. They become easier to live with. And that breaks down the anxieties that go along with the frustrations of your situation. So those are just a few forms of the way we benefit from developing ourselves spiritually. This day goes on, tomorrow will be coming, and our spirituality depends on how we accept it and how we accept ourselves. So let's not hesitate to what we have to do. Follow the signs. The next time we talk, we'll talk about what signs there are and how we know that the signs are there for us and how to develop those signs and perpetuate them. I'd like to thank you for being a part of Following the Signs today on Voice It Radio, the greatest radio station in America. I am proud to be here. I am proud to be with Mr. Porter. I'd like to give a shout out to Miss Montana and Mr. Vernon. And oh my God, the list goes on. So many people are involved with me being here. So many times I'd like to say thank you. And I'd say thank you again. Come back next time. Or just get it from a friend. But we'll be back next week for Following the Signs. And hopefully I won't be as nervous as I am today. You've been a great audience. I'm so happy to be here. And I promise you a great show next time. So sit tight. It's going to be all right. Thanks again. Voice of Radio, Following the Signs. Right back at you.